Now, if you've seen my earlier videos, you know I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with entitled wrestling fans because entitled wrestling fans tend to have a habit of looking at, professional wrestling and saying stuff like, well, since I don't like the product, it's terrible. And it's like, that's not true. You just don't like the product. You don't have to, like, you can dislike the product and let that be it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to try to turn that into a universal statement. It doesn't make any sense, and it makes you look kind of ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Also, stop using vague terms. That's just weird. Oh, the writing is bad. How? Talk, bro. You can't just say bad writing and then just let that be it. It's so vague. Stuff like that just drives me up the wall. But like, I think the thing that really kind of annoys me is the fact that entitled fans really, really, really want the wrestling world to listen to what they have to say, even if it's absolutely nothing at all. But they don't want to actually do any. They don't want to do the work to be listened to. Like sometimes I would ask wrestling fans stuff like, why don't you want to? What's stopping you from being a wrestler? And they always give me the dumbest reasons. Dumb reason number one: it's always something like their body. You know what I'm saying? It's either they're too fat or they're too skinny or they're too short, yada yada yada. And in a time like since I've watched professional wrestling to before I started backyarding to being trained now, I have seen all types of wrestlers come in from all types of from all walks of life. Whether they were fat, whether they were short, whether they were tall, whether they were skinny, whether they were black, whether they were white, whether they spoke whether they spoke a language that was different, whether they just spoke English in a ridiculous way. No matter where they came from, wrestling was like a mixing bowl. It was a pot. You didn't have to be a tall, fat guy anymore. You know what I mean? You could literally just be a good wrestler, and it would not matter how you looked. And I really don't like the fact that wrestling fans still see this, still like have this idea that a wrestler has to look a certain way, and because you don't look a certain way, you shouldn't be involved in wrestling. Look, I'm short and fat. I'm short and I'm fat. I'm like at least a good. I think I'm like 5'7", but I'm also like 210 pounds. And if you haven't noticed in my past few videos, I flip. Will I ever call myself Keith Lee? No. Will I ever call myself Shane Taylor? No. Will I ever compare myself to any other wrestler? No. The fact of the matter is that I want to be a wrestler because I like this stuff and I want to do it. And that's it. I know for a fact that I'm not going to go to WWE. WWE is going. Vince is going to look at me and go, "This guy, he's old, he's fat, he's black, he's short," and he's going to be like, "Take him away. He does not. His allure is not pleasing to me." And I would just go, "All right, back to reality of wrestling. I go." Now, but these fans, I tell you, like that's the first thing they go to. Oh, I'm too old. Really? Like I'm 33. Come on, man. Like wow, it's ridiculous. Um, yeah, well, you're not gonna go to WWE. Of course not. But I still want to wrestle though. I still want to get in a ring and do the cool stuff that I saw on television when I was a kid. It's not about going to WWE, man. It's about accomplishing a goal. It's about trying to live a dream a little bit, man. It's fun. Like professional wrestling is fun, dude. Like it's much more fun than just being on the internet trying to find reasons to hate wrestling, which I feel like wrestling fans do. Well, entitled wrestling fans. I'm not going to say wrestling fans in general because wrestling fans in general are just genuinely fans of the art. They love the craft. But then there's fans out there that just see professional wrestling and just think, "Oh, because this is something I didn't like, I shouldn't like nobody should watch this because I didn't like it." Wrestling fans need to do wrestling needs to do what I say. And it's like, well then, either start your own company or get a job at WWE. But you sitting back out here and just saying that you don't like the business, that doesn't make you look like to me that doesn't make you look that spectacular. I'm just saying. I'm in Booker T's podcast episode because he does one like every couple days or something. But I'm and there's like a whole slew of regular people that be in there. Kelly Toenail, the richest dude on the chat, always has a super chat. Like Daniel Price, who is I'm assuming Daniel Price is like one of those fat fans who just genuinely he just he sort of just sits back and says everything sucks because he thinks that he thinks that him saying everything sucks is a value opinion. I guess I don't know. Then there's Ken Terminator, who just I don't know. That dude, he freaks out about not being told hello. Like, what's that about? Hey everyone, why didn't you say hi to me? Like, dude, calm down. Like, you're an adult, man. Act like an adult. And then there's I think that's it. Everybody else is just like spammers and stuff. But like, it's wild that like I say I want to become a professional wrestler. I say I want to do this stuff. I see the reality of wrestling montages that they put on their commercials all the time, and it just makes me wish that I was back at reality of wrestling. And it doesn't do that for any other fan. And I think that hurts my spirit the most, because if you're watching wrestling and you don't want to even in the slightest bit get involved in it, can you honestly say that you're a wrestling fan? I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but it's just like when I watched professional wrestling when I was a kid, I was saying what I was like when I was a kid. I was like, oh, if I get up in that ring, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And my dad one time just told me, why don't you try that? And that sort of sparked it. That sort of sparked the flame a little bit. And then I saw Booker T wrestling, and that sort of sparked the flame. Then I saw Rey Mysterio wrestling, and that sort of sparked the flame. And then I realized I could do a head scissors takedown, and that sort of sparked the flame. And all these sparks, man, whew, there's a wildfire going on in my head right now. You can see the smoke coming out of my ears, I think. But man, it just hurts my feelings, because like wrestling fans watch wrestling all the time, and I used to say wrestling fans should always at least want to get involved in professional wrestling. And then one day I posted up a picture of Nyla Rose into a group, basically saying how much I respect her for simply just her existence is upsetting the right people, in my opinion. Like, in my opinion, if a picture of Nyla Rose or a mention of Nyla Rose gets you upset, then you're probably a terrible person. Because Nyla Rose ain't doing anything but just living her life. And if you're mad about that, you're a bad guy. And not in the Razor Ramon kind of way. You're not a cool bad guy, you're just a jerk. And it's like, and it's seeing the vitriol that came from some of these people from a picture of Nyla Rose just made me realize not every fan needs to be a wrestler. Because like, you put them in and they're just either terrible people or just annoying people. I just recently learned that there's like a slew of wrestling fans out there who have like Facebook groups, and all those Facebook groups is just them posting up pictures of like women's pinup pictures and just doing exactly what you may think that they do with those pictures. And it's like, do you guys even like wrestling? Like, where'd the drive go, man? In any case, though, I'm glad that I still want to be a part of it. I'm glad that I'm still training to be a part of it. And I'm glad that I'm still pushing towards it. Man, I am so ready to become a wrestler, though, man. And don't worry about it. When it happens, you'll know. Love and peace.